13th of July, Rabbi Levitt, Gemora.
Okay, welcome back, Lou. Welcome back, Alan, and good morning to Phil.
Okay.
Thank you, Rabbi. Welcome back to you.
Thank you.
Hi, what about me?
What, Roy? I didn't hear.
Hi, what about me?
Welcome back.
Oh, welcome back to Roy.
Thank you.
Okay,
All right.
very good.
Sorry about that, Roy.
Oh, that's okay. Going on what we learned just before.
Okay.
Uh,
Let's see, where are we up to over here? I don't have it marked off. Oh, we got up to the Mishnah?
yes, but we read this
Yes.
time.
Oh, we already read from the Mishnah.
Yes.
We were already reading from the Mishnah. Okay, so. Oh, yes, right. Okay, so all these cases. So we've done the Mishnah, and now we go to the Gemora. We're on Sadi Vav Amud Beis, and we did the Gemora also with Rashi, and now we're going to go to the Gemora.
And it's 96b3.
Okay. Once again, Rav Papa is speaking. Amar Rav Papa. So we go to Roy to start off the reading, please.
Okay, and this is to do with the Gemara definition of the Mishnah's first ruling that aging constitutes a change that affects acquisition. So Amar Rav Papa said, Lo his kina mamash. When the Mishnah mentions that the animal aged, it does not mean that the animal is considered changed, only if it actually aged. Ela afilu l'chasha. Rather, even if it merely became lean without aging, the animal is considered changed.
Okay, so even if the animal did not age, but it became kochasha, it became weak. That's also constitutes a kinyan in the animal. And what the nafkamina of that is, what's the nafkamina of whether the goslin is kona the animal, is that like that, if he's kona the animal, he is not going to be able to give back this weak animal and say, here's your animal, take your old animal, and I am absolved of any responsibility further than that. So I don't have to give you anything more. But rather, what the Mishnah says is that when the animal ages, so he's got to pay the goslin kishas agzela, and so he's going to have to pay for a young animal and not for an old animal, because the young animal is worth more. And also, Rav Papa says he's going to have to pay for a strong and healthy animal. the one that he stole, and not for the value of a weakened animal, which is less. So like that, the buyer, not the buyer, the owner of the animal is going to be fully compensated over here in this scenario. Okay, do we have Rashi? Yes, there's a Rashi over here. Ela afilu kachasha.
It's even if you got weaker, or thinner or leaner. Afilu kachasha, the low have a shinui kule. It's not a change at all. High to low, ashtina kule gufa. Something that changes body.
Lo have shinui kule hai.
It's not a
Lo
big change in
ishtane
body.
kule gufa.
It doesn't affect his whole body.
So in other words, what Rashi is pointing out is that Rav Papa is saying a bigger chiddush than what it says in the Mishnah. The Mishnah only says that if the animal got old, then the Gazlan is going to acquire the animal with that shinui, and he's going to have to pay for a young animal. And Rav Papa is saying not only that case, but even a case where the animal was kachasha, it just became weak and infirm. Phil is saying that maybe it means like it became thinner. Okay, possibly. And Rashi say that is a bigger chiddush that comes out from Rav Papa, because Rashi says that the lo havishini kuli high. That's not such a high level of a shinui. Why? The lo ishtani kuli gufa, because Rashi gives an interesting reason, because his entire goof doesn't experience a total transformation. Lo ishtane kule gufa. I'm not sure what Rashi means, but I would assume that what it means is that an animal that became weak, I would have expected Rashi to say, because you can now take care of it better and feed it better, and it'll get back to its strength. It's a temporary situation that it's in a weakened state, but that itself is perhaps maybe Rashi means that there's a permanent the state of the animal is a permanent state of being weakened. I don't know. Is there such a thing like that? Became permanently weakened.
If you're old enough, I suppose. But I don't know about an animal.
Okay, so let's go weiter then. The Gemora asks on this statement of Rav Papa, Vaha. That's always a question. Vaha, we go to Alan.
Okay. On B3, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Right after when the couple lines from the Gemora, the second exchange of the Gemora.
The Gemara asks.
Right.
Oh, okay. The Gemara asks, for a non as a chinor tana. But we learned in our Mishnah only the case of it age, which implies that simply becoming lean, which is less of a change, does not constitute a change that affects acquisition. The Gemara answers, Kekashor, Kanon, as a quinoa. In fact, becoming lean also constitutes a change. And the reason the Mishnah mentions it aged is to teach that if it becomes lean, it constitutes a change only in a case that is similar to it aged. Kilo for door or your, and in that the animal will never return to its original health. The Gemara relates, Omar le mar kafisha bere derav the door the Rav Aishai Ma Kashisha, the son of Rav Krista, said to Rav Ashi, or Mari Misha May the Rabbi Yochanan. This is what they say in the name of Rabbi Yochanan. Filu Guna Tela Se Kale. Even if one stole a lamb and matured into a ram, on gay na se shore, or if he stole a calf and matured into an ox, na se shinoi biyuado no o. It has undergone a physical change in his possession, and he has thereby acquired it. Tovak or mochar, and who then slaughters or sells it. Shalohu toveach. He is not liable to the 4 or 5-fold payments, whereas his animal is slaughtering. Shalom mocher is his animal he is selling. Marley, Rav Ashi said to Umar, Kashisha Lev Midnor Lech, have I not said to you, Lo Tacha Leaf Gavare, do not change names of people when you tribute a ruin. Mishmor Mishmei the Rabbi Elor Itomar. That ruling was stated in the name of Rabbi Elah.
Right, we had that previously in on the same Amud when the Gemara asked Zehaklal Lasuyemai, what was the Zehaklal coming to include? And the Rabbi Eloi was the one who said it's coming to include the following din. So the Gemara, so that's what he's saying to him, that you've misquoted. You don't misquote your rabbonim. Your din is correct. Everything that you've said was correct. That is in fact the din. But don't say that Rabbi Yochanan said it. It was Rabbi Elor that said it. So okay.
Why is it so important who said it?
Why is it so important who said it? Well, let me tell you something. If the Gemora is just going to say somebody said this and somebody said that and somebody said that, I just had a sugya in Nida, and the whole sugya was based upon a series of questions and answers based upon the fact that it was it was Rabbi Eliezer Hagadol, Eliezer ben Horkinus, that said the statements. And if it would be that somebody else said the statement, the whole Gemara wouldn't exist. Because Gemara tries to understand what Rabbi Eliezer says, and if he and it brings questions based upon something else that he said in a different Gemara, different din, different halacha, and if it was just a different person, so then we wouldn't have the contradiction that the Gemara is asking on Rebbe Eliezer based upon what he said in a different case. So the whole Gemara is not necessary, not possible to say. We see from the Gemara is trying to understand not only is trying to understand who says this opinion, because, and why do we want to clarify who said this opinion? Because like that we can understand better how he understands it, because based upon what he said in different contexts, we can understand what he says over here. That's one reason. Another reason is because if we have a rule that the halacha follows Rebbe Eliezer, we have to know that this is Rebbe Eliezer. If it's not Rebbe Eliezer, so then we don't follow it. So in any case, there's if you keep at it, you'll see how important it is to know who it is that says what. That's just on one foot. I've given you a couple reasons why it's not so probably that you can't appreciate it so much, because you don't see the case in the Gemara inside, but if you look for it, you'll see. And we see over here how important it is to the Gemara, and that's why Rav Ashi is pointing it out to Mar Kashisha Berei Rav Chizda. Let's see, maybe we'll see over here itself a reason why it's important to know that it was Rebbe Eloi who said it, as opposed to Rabbi Yochanan. Perhaps we'll see right here in the Gemara itself what's the importance of knowing who it was that said it. But this is an established principle. Look at the whole story of the Megillah. Hamevi Omer Davar b'Shem Omram, the one who says something in the name of the one who said it, he brings Gula to the world. What happened over there? It was only because Esther said to Achashverosh that Esther said, who said that Bigsan and Seresh are trying to assassinate the king? Mordechai was the one that said that to me. He's the one that told me that. Oh, Mordechai was the one who said that. Oh, really? And that was the whole story of the salvation that happened that's how the salvation played itself out, because Achashverosh knew that it was Mordechai who said this. And therefore the Gemara in Megillah says, Ha'omer Davar b'Shem Omrim, the one who says this statement in the name of the one who said it brings Gula to the world. So there you see in the case of the Purim story, the Gemara Megillah is pointing out that there is very clear why it was so important to for Esther to say it in the name of Mordechai. Okay. We have any Rashi on this part that Alan read? Not yet. Not yet. So we're going to go weiter in the Gemora. Okay, so this was what Markashisha said to Rav Ashi, and he said it in the name of Rav Yochanan. And Rav Ashi, the first thing he said to him was, "You have not, have I not told you that you should not switch around names when you're quoting the halacha? That was not correct what you said. It was not said by Rabbi Yochanan, it was said by Rabbi Elor." Okay. Oh, and then that's the end of that whole story. Now we're going to go on to something else, actually. Okay, so we're not going to see anything, at least right now. Okay, so let's go further. So Lou, you want to continue the reading since we don't have any Rashi for you to read?
Okay, Rabbi Meir Omer, Vadim Omer, Lo Hare Shelcha Lefanecha. Rabbi Meir says, with respect to slaves, say to him, behold, that what is yours is before you. So, in other words, the thief can give back the slave, even if the slave has aged or has become thin or whatever. Rabbi Meir is disagreeing with the Tanakama. Amar Rabbi Chanina bar Avdime Amar Rav. Rabbi Chanina, son of Avdime, said in the name of Rav, Halacha Rabbi Meir. The law is like Rabbi Meir. V'Rav Shabik Rabbanan V'Avid Rebbe Meir, and Rav abandons the rabbis. Let's see. But does Rav abandon the rabbis and rule in accordance with Rabbi Meir?
Yeah, the Gemara is asking a question over here. This seems very odd. Is it so that Rav, right? Because generally the rule when it comes to psak halacha in the Gemara is that when you have the Rabbanan who represent a rabbin, a majority against a singular opinion, such as Rav Meir, so we go. The halacha is Rabbim v'Yochid halacha k'Rabbim. The halacha follows the majority and not the singular lone opinion. So it would appear over here, says the Gemara, that Rav has forsaken the klal of the Gemara, that you paskin like the Rabbanan against a lone opinion.
I don't get the Havamina. Why would we suspect that Rav agrees with Rabbi Meir?
That's what it says here. Take a look. Amar Rav Chanina bar Avdimi, Amar Rav.
Oh, let's see. What did I miss?
Halacha k'Rebbe Meir.
Oh, okay. I see. I got it. Okay. Weiter?
Yeah.
Amrei, Mishum de Varaisa, the Brisa, Ipcha Tanya, because a Brisa taught the opposite,
Right.
because there's a Brisa that says what Rabbi Meir says.
The Bryce, let's take a look at the, there's a Rashi over here. Ifcha Tanya. Ifcha means, the opposite, just the opposite.
The Bryce reverse is the Tanya. If the Tanya, the time it's reversed in the Brysa. Rabbi Meir says, Kishat Gazela, it's at the time of should be at the time of the robbery that you should pay him. And Chachamim Omrim, the Chachamim say, Ba'avadim in slaves, Omer lo, you can say to him, Hare shel chol lefanecha, take it back. It's what yours is in front of it. And it says Rav Holcha Karebi Meir, that Rav goes after Rebbe Meir. The Matnisan in a Mishnah, the Hainu Rabbanan the Brisa, that would be the Rabbana in the Brisa.
Yeah, so
I
Rashi
that
says,
last sentence.
okay, Rashi is explaining that let's just say outside for a second, and then we'll read the Rashi inside. Maybe that's going to help. If you take a look at our Mishnah, right, we have two opinions over here in our Mishnah about an Eved who stealing an Eved, and then the Eved gets old. The Eved gets old, right? The first opinion, the Mishnah says, is the unnamed opinion. Gezel behema beheskina, avodim beheskina, mishalem kishasak zela. That's the unnamed opinion. That is the opinion. The unnamed opinion is the opinion of the Chachamim.
Right.
And they say that the Gazlan pays kishasak zela.
Right.
And Rabbi Meir says, no, when it comes to avodim, you can give back the Eved as is. Harei shalcha lefanecha, give it back. That's what we see in the Mishnah. Now the Gemora, when the Gemora responded to the question, the Gemora said, why did Rab say what he said? Mishum the Brisa ifcha Tanya, because the Brisa learns just the opposite. What's it mean that the Brisa learns just the opposite? Like Phil said, they reversed the shitas. In the Brisa, you find the shitas are reversed, meaning that who is the opinion according to the Brisa that says that the Gazlan pays kashas akzela? That's the shita of Rabbi Meir. And the other shita that says that no, you could say Harei shalcha lefanecha, that's the shita of the Chachamim. That's the way the Brisa presents it. The Brisa presents it that the two opinions are switched, exactly the opposite way of the Mishnah. And so, okay, so with that information, let's take a look at the Rashi again. What is Rashi saying? Ifcha Tanya, Rabbi Meir Omer Kashas Gzela. Rabbi Meir is the one who says that you pay Kashas Hagzela. V'chachamim omrim, v'avodim omer lo harei shalcha lefanecha. So Rashi over there is discussing what it means ifcha Tanya, what we learned in the Brisa, which was ifcha. Ifcha means the opposite. Like Phil said, the opinions are switched around; they're reversed, and so that's Rashi's. That Rashi speaks out over there. That's what it says in the Brisa. And then Rashi says Uka'amar Rav, and this that Rav said the halacha is like Rebbe Meir. What did he mean by that when he said the halacha is like Rebbe Meir? He meant to say Rebbe Meir de Masnisen. Dehainu, which is to say Rabbanan de Braisa. The halacha is like Rebbe Meir, what Rebbe Meir says in the Mishnah, which represents the view of the Rabbanan in the Braisa, which is that what? Which is that you could say Haresh al Chalafanecha. That's what's being said. Now we have to understand what does this mean? But first you got to understand what's being said.
So it's saying that that when Rav says the halacha is like Rebbe Meir, he's saying that in the Mishnah, that it is the rabbis in the Brisa.
That opinion of when it says halacha, when it says Rav says halacha like Rebbe Meir, Rashi's explaining that means to say the opinion that Rebbe Meir says in the Mishnah, which is that the Goslin could say Haresh Chalafanecha, here's your old Eved. And Rashi has explained which is the opinion of the Rabbanan. That's the opinion which is attributed. It's attributed to the Rabbanan, the majority opinion in the Brisa.
I got it.
Okay. Now the Gemora, now is everybody happy now?
No,
The Gemora is not happy.
because a
We're gonna
Brisa
see
is
in a
not
minute.
more powerful than a Mishnah. You have a Mishnah and a Brisa that
Yeah.
disagree. That should be impossible, right?
Well, okay, let's see exactly what the Gemora is not happy about. Let's try to figure this out. Whose turn it is to read? Alan? Roy, you want to read?
Okay.
My time at the Rav.
It's on 96B4, left-hand column,
Yes, I've got that.
close to the bottom.
1 second, did I skip?
Yeah, I
I
think.
think-
you did.
Yeah. Don't read from Rav Shovek Masnisen v'Ovid Kebraisa.
Okay. The Rav Shobek Masnisin v'Ovid Bevoraisa. But does Rav then abandon the version of the dispute recorded by the Mishnah and rule in practice in accordance with the version of the dispute recorded in the Baraisa?
Right. What's the Gemara not happy about?
Right, happy. That Rav might change his mind.
What the Gemara is not happy about is nobody changed their mind over here. There seems to be a discrepancy over here between, there's a disagreement over here between the Mishnah and the Brisa. There's a disagreement. What's the disagreement about? Who said what? And now we're starting to understand why it's important to know who says what. Here's an example. This Gemara is an example of why it's important to know who says what. And that's why the Gemara probably made the introduction to this Gemara with the story with Rav Ashi and Mar Kashisha. That he told him, why haven't I told you not to misquote the views of the Rabbanan? We see over here that there seems to be a discrepancy between the Mishnah and the Brisa over just this fact. Who said what? According to the Mishnah, it was the Rabbanan who said that the Goslin pays Kashasa Gzela. And Rebbe Meir was the one who says that no, you could give him back and say, here's your Eved. But according to the Brisa, it's exactly the opposite. And now the Gemara is asking, well, according to your answer, you're saying that Rav is preferring the version of the Brisa to the version of the Mishnah. Does that make sense? That Rav is going to go with what it says in the Brisa as opposed to what it goes in the Mishnah? The Mishnah is always more authoritative than the Brisa. So this is difficult that you've suggested this answer.
I'm surprised to hear you say the Mishnah is more authoritative than the Brisa. I learned that they were of equal authority. That they all were the teachings, the terse distillation of the teachings of Moshe Rabbeinu that were passed down over the centuries. And when it came time to codify them, so Rabbi Yehuda Nasi selected a certain subset that he felt encapsulated what needed to be included, and he left out the ones that he felt were not required to be in the body, but that they all have the same way.
Okay, so let's clarify over here. This matter over here is not a question of whether this halacha should appear in the Mishnah or not. It appears in the Mishnah and appears in the Brisa. Now the issue over here, when we say who's more authoritative, is which text is more authoritative. We're talking about the text itself, just like we were saying in the previous class with the Peleoids. What's the authoritative text? We need to know that the Mishnah is when we want to know who is the authoritative text, the authoritative text is the Mishnah. If the Mishnah addresses a subject and the Brisa addresses the same subject, and there's a discrepancy between the text, we go with the Mishnah, because the Mishnah was gone over by Rabbi Yehuda Nasi, and if you go through Shas, you will. I don't think ever. Well, sometimes perhaps you will see, but you'll sometimes see that the Gemara will say, "Oh, you have to learn the Mishnah like this. You have to learn the Mishnah like that." But we will never say, "Oh, the Mishnah was mishubeshes. The Mishnah was mistaken." We never say such a thing. However, when it comes to a brisa, sometimes the Gemara says, this brisa is mishubeshes. The text is mixed up. The text of the brisa is mixed up. It's not quoting things correctly. Why? Because the brisa was not part of the official canonization of the halachas of Shas. Rabbeinu HaKodesh, Rabbi Yehuda Nasi, he canonized the Shisha Sidrei Mishnah. These are the halachas that come out from Shas, and the words and the text is authoritative. But by the brisa, it was not so. They didn't go over all the brisas in the same way that they went over the language of the Mishnah. So here we have a situation where we have the Mishnah quoting the version of the story, and we have the Brisa quoting the version of the story. So for sure, we're going to go with the version of the Mishnah. That's the Gemara's question. Okay. Yeah. And now now the Gemara has an answer to this. Let's see what the Gemara answers. But like that, we understand why the Gemara asked the question that it asked. That's what was bothering the Gemara. How could it be that Rav just goes with the version of the Brisa over the version of the Mishnah? The version of the Machlokes in this sense is got to be the Mishnah is we would say is more authoritative. On that, the Gemara answers.
Rav Machnisin Nami Afecha Tana. Rav also features the Mishnah in the opposite way.
Oh boy.
The Gemara says Atzro understood the answer to mean that Rav reversed the text of the Mishnah so that it conformed with the text of the Brisa.
Wow.
Accordingly, the Gemara asks, Umay Ta'ami the Rav the Pif Mastani Sin Mukame Devaresa. But what is the reason that Rav reversed the text of the Mishnah in face of the opposite text found in the Brisa? Adareva Nifkuch Levar Resa Mukame Misanisa. On the contrary, he should reverse the text of the Brisa in face of the opposite text found in the Mishnah.
Right. So the Gemara gave an answer that it answered, and the Gemara didn't like that answer either. Right?
Mhm.
What do you mean Rav changed the text of the Mishnah according to what he saw in the Brisa? He should have done exactly the opposite. He should have changed the text of the Brisa to accord with what it says in the Mishnah. And he should have understood that the Mishnah is the authoritative version of who said what. Okay.
Is Rav the same as Rav Yehuda Hanassi?
What's that?
Is Rav the same person as Rav Yehuda Hanassi?
No, not at all. No. Rav is Rav, and Rebbe Yehuda Nasi is a
He's
different.
Rebbe. Okay, I got it. Thank you.
Yeah, Rebbe, right? Rebbe is Rebbe Yehuda Nasi, who is Rabbeinu Hakodesh. It's
Right.
all the same person.
Right.
And he was the one who was the Mesader. He was the one who put together and organized all the Mishnayos.
Right.
The six orders of the Mishnah. And that was an official job that was done on, and that was like the official, the official, that was the Shulchan Aruch at that point, right? And the Brisa was just coming to add things, to add different opinions, to have different understandings, and maybe different things that the Mishnah didn't mention even. But it was not gone over with a fine-tooth comb in the same way that the Mishnah was, because it wasn't the official Shulchan Aruch.
So is Rav and Amora?
Yes, Rav is the first generation of Mora, and in fact, the Gemara even says about Rav Tana Upolig, when we can't find any way to reconcile Rav with one of the Tanoim, we say Rav has the ability to argue on the Tana.
Ah, okay. Now I remember who he is.
And Rebbe Yehuda Nasi, he's the last generation of the Tanoim. So they're very they're close in time.
Okay, it's very late. Take
Okay.
care.
Book
Be well.
34.
Thank you.
All the best.
Bye.
Okay.
Have a great day, everybody.
Thank you, Rabbi.
Hope Rabba.
We'll see at 4, right?
4 o'clock. Sounds good.
Bye, Alan.
Okay,
Bye,
bye.
Lou. Bye, Roy and Phil.